Thanks, Karine. Some recent polls, and I know you've said the president doesn't govern looking at polls, but some have shown his popularity eroding amongst young people and also non-whites, and it's not only related to Israel. Is he aware of that? Is he going to try to refocus his messaging or tweak it to speak directly to those groups that have felt left behind?
So look, and going to be mindful about this upcoming election. Not going to comment about that, the 2024 election, or how these polls will affect the 2024 election. Going to be super mindful, but more broadly, we believe that young Americans support the president's agenda more broadly, right? In an overwhelming way. And the president has stood with young Americans on many of the issues that they care about, because you said beyond what's happening in the Middle East. And so when it comes to climate change, right, that's something that he's been very clear about and has been the most progressive president on that particular issue. And he's going to continue to do that. We understand as well that while the economy is turning around, and you've heard me talk at the top about the 15 million jobs created and what we've been able to do to turn around the economy, we understand that prices are too high, and young people in particular are feeling that. And so we're going to continue to work on those issues. We're going to continue to do everything that we can to lower cost. I talked about the situation in the Middle East and how young Americans are feeling about what they're seeing in Gaza, and we understand how painful it is, this moment is for them. That's why we've been working so hard to try to get a deal that would lead us to a ceasefire, get hostages home, and make sure that we get that humanitarian aid. Let's not forget that the U.S. has led the effort in getting humanitarian assistance into Gaza. And so, going to be super mindful about the particular polling questions, but we do believe that we want to make sure that we have an economy that works for young people. We want to make sure that we listen to young people and hear them out. We want to make sure that we continue to work on some of the issues that the president has talked about, whether it's student debt relief. This is something that the president, it's not going to stop him from doing the work that he has been very clear about wanting to deliver for the American people, including young Americans. So
Messaging to minorities.
Well, and what do you mean specifically about that?
Hispanic voters.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to speak to Hispanic voters or voters more specifically, but if you look at what the president has been able to accomplish for different communities, we have seen an economy that he has created, right, that he's wanted to create, that is not a trickle-down economy, that is very much from the bottom up, middle out. And you've seen unemployment go down for the Hispanic community. You've seen wealth, when we talk about wealth gap, closing the wealth gap, and making sure that we're creating jobs for Latino, Hispanic communities more specifically. I think we've created more than 4 million jobs in this administration for that particular community. We've seen that as well for the Black community, the African American community. We've been very consistent. You heard me lay out what we've been able to do for Asian Americans with the president's economic policy. So we are very, very committed to making sure that communities that are normally seen to be left behind are not left behind as it relates to the president's economic policy. You see that when he fights Big Pharma. When he's fighting Big Pharma and lowering costs, that helps communities that you're asking me about. When we're talking about junk fees, that helps communities that you're asking me about. And so when we're talking about expanding ACA, we expanded that for Dreamers, for DACA recipients. That's because, and you heard this president say this last week, because he understands that DACA recipients, many of them are part of our military, right? They're part of what makes this country great. And so those are actions that the president's going to continue to take and continue to have those conversations and certainly message that. I have to go. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow, guys. Thanks, everyone.